And welcome to the Mythic Movie Maker podcast, where we analyze films from a mythological lens. My name is John, and this is my brother Nick.
Hello.
And Nick, I have kind of I have a confession. I
hmm
have a confession to make. Ever since the Lost Death Proof episode, I have not been who I say I am.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I was replaced by a liquid Terminator that's
Oh.
taking the form of John. So I don't know if that has to change anything about our relationship and or the podcast. I just thought that I'd air that out just so the viewers and you knew
Okay. Have you been terminating a lot of people in the meantime?
a lot.
Okay.
And there's nothing that anyone can do about it.
hmm
Do you have any confessions that you want to make before we get started?
Well, like I was gonna, but now it just seems pretty meek in comparison.
Well, could you, how about a quote instead then?
We can do a quote.
Okay.
Um, you were gonna kill that guy? Of course. I'm a Terminator.
There was a theme of killing that was similar to like the theme in a series that we reference often but haven't reviewed yet, The Dark Knight. Because
Yeah, yeah. Like there is this kind of like this idea that his nature is to be a killing machine, a literal killing machine.
hmm
And like he's kind of becomes more human throughout the course of the movie.
yeah, those are the moments actually that actually have persisted into culture, you know. The funny thing, the funny contemporary things that he says, but as a Terminator, like people
Yeah.
really reacted well to that. Like,
It's funny that like it's despite the fact that it's just like for the vast majority of the movie his robot parts aren't visible.
hmm
He's just Arnold Schwarzenegger acting,
yeah,
but it's
that's
so
that's true too.
it's just so believable that he's a robot
Yeah,
that when he starts acting human you're like, "Oh, look, the robot's acting human." When like in reality he's just a human the whole time. It's
yeah.
just Arnold. Like yeah, like yeah, just like the spell is so complete that he's just like in the minds of the audience, he just is a robot.
It's true because, well, I mean, I think that the Terminator 1 was actually the first time that at least American audiences saw Arnold at all. I mean, most
Wasn't it?
people don't follow
Yeah,
bodybuilding. Um,
yeah, and probably nobody saw that Hercules movie.
I don't. You Hercules or Conan?
Hercules. Conan was after.
Hercules?
Like
Oh,
he's like Hercules in New York. It's like
oh,
some like
okay.
B movie that nobody watched.
Yeah, I've never heard of that movie. So that's the one movie that he did before Terminator?
There might have been like one or two other ones, but that was like that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, so most people view, and credit to Arnold for becoming human later on in his life. But
Uh,
seriously, it's
yeah,
he did kind of grow out of being a robot.
yeah, yeah. He's like yeah. Later on in his career, his acting he becomes like a real serious actor to a certain extent.
Yeah.
He's still mostly playing action roles.
Yeah, and roles that are making fun of how intimidating he looks, like Kindergarten
Mhm.
Cop and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there's a funny little fact about this movie too, which is you don't know who the director Andrei Tarkovsky is, do you? Um,
Old Russian guy, right?
yeah,
Like made a bunch of black and white silent or not silent movies, but like movies with long spans of pensive shots with little
yeah,
dialogue. Yeah.
exactly. Is exactly what you think of when you think of an art director.
Yeah.
Like, and he's one of my favorite. Like, he's probably like up there with Kubrick as the greatest filmmaker of all time. For what he's done to the art. But someone asked him about like American movies, and he said, "Yeah, they're basically all garbage. Terminator was good though." I mean, he said the acting was terrible, of course, but the plot of the movie was really good. And I've always thought about that because it's like, what could he was the guy that made Solaris, that movie.
Yeah.
It's about like a planet that comes to life. So he's got a similar sci-fi future looking vibe. He must have seen something in Terminator 2 that most audiences didn't see.
Yeah, well, so the thing about like science fiction is that like old science fiction is really weird and mystical, like Dune. Like I
Yeah,
think Dune is like an archetypical like old sci-fi
it
where
is. It is. It's
it
not,
it's
it is fairly recent, but it's not, it is of that kind of sci-fi. Yeah.
yeah, where it's like we're going into space to find, magic space sand that people snort to be able to navigate their ships, and everything is weird and ritualized and mystical.
It's sort of half set in the past also. I would say, yeah, it's half set. It's sort of like Planet of the Apes, where like the real brilliance of Planet of the Apes is that it takes place in both the past and the future at the same time. That's actually the actual brilliance of the movie.
Yeah, like cycles of progress and regression.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
Terminator 2, a movie that we're allegedly reviewing.
Yes.
So I think
I
that like
yeah, go on.
I think the most significant change between this movie and the last movie. There's actually a lot of themes that kind of carry forward,
Yeah.
like Skynet kind of being represented by like authority figures. We'll get to that later.
Hmm.
But like there's the big thing is that there's a much larger focus on like nuclear Armageddon. Like it's
Yeah.
like like it's the opening scene is so much more about like the nuclear holocaust, and then Sarah Connor's dream, which I think is just was the marketing material for the movie. Like,
Yeah. It didn't really have a place, honestly. Um,
yeah.
Although the imagery in that I thought was very interesting. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But we can get more into that. So you're saying that so why is the nuclear imagery so much more a part of this one than the last one?
So I think it's because of the focus on like the previous movie was viewed the nuclear Armageddon as being an inevitability,
Hmm.
and that we know that John Connor, if he survives, will overthrow Skynet, and will, at the very least, humanity will continue to survive because of John Connor's actions. And this movie is a lot more focused on preventing this nuclear Armageddon from happening in the first place.
Yeah, because the big theme in this movie is no fate.
Yeah.
And I think it was assumed basically in the last Terminator that fate well, I mean, what was the point of the last Terminator in that way? Do you remember? Because they did
Like
talk about that. Yeah, yeah,
about
it was the
fate.
same. It was the same. It was no fate.
Yeah.
Let's change fate.
Let's make our own future kind of thing.
Let's make our own future.
Yeah, and
And
this like goes
yeah.
even farther.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she,
into
she
like
carves it
for
on a picnic table. So you know
mhm.
it's real.
Oh yeah, of
So
course.
you know she's serious.
It's also kind of strange. Like it's a little interesting that like the first Terminator was during the Cold War,
Yeah,
and
barely.
nuclear Armageddon was a certainty in that movie, where they didn't even try to avoid it. And now we're post Cold War, and the next movie is about this movie is about preventing nuclear Armageddon. So it's almost like the fall of the Soviet Union has yielded a more optimistic Terminator movie.
I don't necessarily okay. Explain it to me why you think it's optimistic. Because there was a time where Arnold says the Russians are go or we're gonna throw a bunch of missiles at the Russians. And then John Connor says, "Well, I thought they were our friends now." And Arnold says, it doesn't matter. We're
Well,
just
I think
if we throw missiles at them, they're gonna throw missiles back at us, whether we're friends or not."
well, yeah, but like the tension is gone, not fully gone, but yeah, there like around like the early '90s, there was kind of a sigh of relief that nuclear war was kind of off the table now.
Yeah.
Even though, and it's also like, where else would Russia point their missiles?
It's weird then that Cameron felt the need to continue even so that the vibe that I feel like you should have when there's no longer a Cold War is that sigh of relief. But Cameron right away was like, nope, that doesn't matter. Even though us and the Russia are friends, we have a greater enemy on our
Yeah, well,
hands.
yeah, it wasn't like it's not us versus the Russians. It's
Yeah.
Skynet versus humanity, and
Yeah.
using those kind of divisions to make us destroy ourselves.
Yeah. And then there was that meme. There's that thing that became a meme, which is you see the two kids playing with toy guns, and John Connor says, "We're not going to make it, are we? Humans, I mean."
Yeah, that was a bit of unsubtle scripting.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing about James Cameron too, is he's so subtle in some ways, like with symbolism and things like that, but so unsubtle with like dialogue.
Yeah, like that scene might as well have been James Cameron. Like it could have been like the could have been like the screen could have paused and James Cameron himself could have walked out in front of the projector and started
Yeah.
talking about what he believes.
Yeah. So here's what I think.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting point, and I think well I was let me ask you. I have an idea, but what do you think was so important about a playground getting destroyed by the nuclear blast? And we're looking at kids like play fighting and stuff, and that's going to turn into real fighting when they become adults. Yeah.
I just viewed the playground as a representation of like a of just a place of innocence,
Mm.
of just like, this is like, these are people who are capital I innocent, and they are being destroyed by this nuclear holocaust. And
Yeah.
that makes it, as like, you want the destruction to look as tragic as humanly possible. I think that's just a very straightforward and practical way of doing that, of having a bunch of like children playing, and then that being the point of view as the bombs fall.
Because if they showed like the U.S. Bank or something that's like the in the LA skyline, people would be like, "All right." I don't
Yeah,
totally
like if
disagree.
it was
It's like the ending of
if it
Fight
was
Club that's like it's supposed to be a good thing.
yeah, if it was like a bunch of like massively overweight bankers with like coat-tailed suits, like smoking cigars in a room, and Sarah Connor on the outside, like bang, no, like
Yeah.
tragically, wouldn't have hit the same.
No. No, it would not. But I also think that right away, you know, I never knew Cameron was this symbolic of a filmmaker before we started doing this.
Yeah,
But I've grown to really watch the symbols that he uses.
yeah,
And
and I keep
yeah,
going.
well, that symbol of a playground, I think exactly what you said. I think it's about this movie is about innocence. And with innocence, obviously, will come a loss of innocence. If you present something as innocent, you're going to have to show later on in the movie how a loss of innocence happens. I kind of viewed there to be two adolescents in this movie. There was obviously John Connor is a kid, but he's a kid that's a little bit less innocent than the other kids because you remember at the beginning, all the other kids are riding around on bicycles.
Hmm.
What does John Connor have?
He's got like a little dirt bike,
Yeah,
and
he's got a little dirt bike,
he's hacking ATMs.
and he's hacking ATMs. Yeah. Well, that's
He's
another
he's
thing too.
he's
Is
displaying power over the robots.
yes, Nick. Okay, yeah, totally. I felt that way too. But he's still innocent in a way. And then who do you think the other innocent one is? Childlike one is?
That would probably be Arnold.
It is. Yeah. Because well, why would you say that?
Well, he was born yesterday.
Yeah, he was well, he was reborn and he was
Yeah, like
reborn to be good. You know,
yeah,
which is cool. And that's really the coolest part about this movie.
yeah. Is that you get like the unstoppable, implacable, you know, monster death robot, but he's on your side now. Now there's an even
Yeah.
there's a and not only is he on your side, but we have Sarah Connor is now a hard ass paramilitary lady,
Yeah.
and now there's like a commensurate threat to the heroes being more powerful, which is the liquid metal super robot,
Yeah.
which the just as an aside, the special effects hold up extremely well.
They hold up pretty good. They hold up pretty good. I kept putting myself in the shoes of a 1991 bright-eyed and bushy-tailed 1991, person that was excited to see the new Terminator because he liked the last one. And
And you'd be very impressed if you were.
oh yeah, because they have shots in the movie that do nothing but just showcase the special effect.
Yeah, like I think the one there's two really cool scenes with the special effect. They're both like
Mhm.
right next to each other. One is where the policeman robot like morphs into a section of floor and then
Yeah,
turns
that
into
was
a person
cool.
from there. And then where the second one is like a couple minutes later where he it zooms straight in on him. Like it's showcasing it where if it looked bad, it would be very noticeably bad.
Yeah.
Where he like walks through the bars.
Yep. Yeah. The other one is he never clues you in until after Arnold saves John Connor that
Yeah,
Arnold is actually the good guy. He does,
because
yeah.
the audience would probably believe that, assuming the promotional material didn't give away the
Oh, which
game.
it probably did actually.
Yeah. Um, but like the audience would probably assume that Arnold and the cop are both Terminators sent to kill John Connor, and that he's just completely boned when he's got one robot on one side and the other robot on the other side.
What is he? Is he a T-2000? What is
T
the liquid
T
metal
T
guy?
T1000 is the liquid guy.
And what is Arnold?
I have him in my notes as Arnold, and we've already been
Okay.
calling him that throughout the whole. So I think T1000 and Arnold are going to be our
Okay.
two robots,
Okay, that's fine.
or maybe Cop Robot. I don't know.
Or well, we've been calling him Liquid Metal Terminator 2. Doesn't have it doesn't flow off the tongue.
Yeah.
But I was thinking when I was putting my mind in the 1991 mind was that guy, the audience might have thought that he was like Kyle Reese and that he was going to save that he was actually there to save people.
Oh yeah. I've actually got that in my notes here, where the evil, the sinister robot is a lot more guileful this time. He's like slim and handsome and polite,
Mm,
and he takes on these forms and like is much more inclined to like operate within human society, while Arnold is this huge, gruff, mean, and abrasive
yeah.
character. Like where
He looks like what
the
he is,
yeah, where
basically. Yeah.
in the initial scene, he doesn't make any effort to hide the fact that he's superhuman when he's getting the clothes and the motorcycle from the biker.
Hmm. I mean, I was a little bit worried, like, oh man, this is actually very similar. A lot of things are very similar to the first movie and it's like formula rot.
I I think it's actually there to enhance the bait and switch.
I completely agree. I
There's
completely
even
agree.
even at the very beginning, like in the opening credit sequence, they show like the Arnold robot with all the skin off, and it looks like the metal robot skull with the red glowing eyes,
Hmm.
like where it's almost like this, like it's looking very sinister with like the flames in the background. I think the idea is to like remind you of the first movie, like this is the villain,
Hmm.
and then later on, it's like, oh, he's the good guy. Yeah, gotcha.
Well, also the ending scene was the same too, but but he was very clever to do twists on it because yeah, James Cameron is not the type of filmmaker that's like, yeah, let me just repeat this. It seemed to work.
Yeah,
He's
it
too smart.
feels more like a callback than a repetition.
Yeah.
You also kind of need a like because he built up this liquid robot guy as being basically indestructible,
Yeah.
and you need to get that guy destroyed. And I think like some kind of like industrial plant that can destroy him and as well as the and Arnold needs to be annihilated too. So you kind of do need to be in some kind of like industrial or crazy environment to make that possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, we'll get more into that, but it's that theme of fire. I think fire is a huge theme in this movie.
Yeah, because they're like I noticed the repetition and the callback of like things exploding and then things on fire a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't I wasn't able to bring it all together. So maybe you have some ideas on that later.
I have a theory on it, but I don't want I want to save it to the end.
Okay.
Let's talk about what you were saying earlier about John basically being a hacker and having like exerting his power over machines, which is a constant thing that happens in the movie.
Yeah.
Like he hacks the ATM, he fixes the motorcycle. If you think
The
about
mo-
it,
like the
yeah.
motorcycle almost betrays him at like when the cop is sort of walking down. Like when he's trying to get the motorcycle to start and it's
Yeah.
it's stalling.
It does. It does almost betray him.
But yeah, like he does like sort of express control over robots with like the hacking. Although that part of that's just like a Chekhov's gun for later on when he opens the door for Miles.
I think that the hacking, him being a hacker, was the important part. Because if you think about it, John Connor in the future is also a hacker.
Oh yeah, because they reprogrammed
Yeah.
the Terminator to send him back. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I think John Connor was the one who hacked it, which that's in his character as a kid to be a hacker. It's sort of interesting when I had that realization like, oh, this same kid is the guy that hacked the Terminator in the future. That totally makes sense. That like
yeah.
he upgraded his hacking skills in the meantime.
Hmm.
And the other thing too is he kind of this is my sort of shamanism, mystic magical part coming out, but not only did he hack the machines, but he kind of hacked reality in some ways. Like he was sort of a hacker of reality. Like look at the way that he moved around the city. It wasn't like the main streets or anything. He was like going through the dried out LA River to
Yeah,
commute
and
and
through like
like
weird back alleys and stuff.
the weird
And
back
when
alleys. Yeah.
yeah, and when he's running around the mall like trying to get away from the cop,
Yeah.
he's going into like employee only areas and seems to be navigating around these areas that are not open to the public like very
Hmm.
effectively.
Oh, seamlessly. Yeah.
Yeah, although that said, like I am yes anding you right now, but I also think that the idea that he's hacking reality by going through back alleys is just not. I'm just not following you on that one.
Okay. But you see how I could be
Yeah,
where it
yeah.
could
Like I see where you're coming from
where
on
my
that.
mind is. Yeah, because it's like, you know, something that's this is a just a weird metaphor I have for this, but if you look at the alchemy, there's two ways to look at it. There's the Jungian way, which is actually, you know, the turning lead into gold is actually turning your bad self into your good self, you know? And it's
Mhm.
all metaphorical and everything. But, and there's people that are just like, that's actually what alchemy was about. That's the only thing that it was really saying or that came out of it. But it's like, no, they actually have full-on books written about the actual science of alchemy and people like making
They,
vacuums and
they were very interested in changing actual physical reality.
they
Like
were.
they really really wanted to turn lead into gold.
They did, yeah. So my theory on that is the alchemist is actually both. And to change reality, you have to change your inner self, you know? You have to improve your inner self to be able to improve the outside world. And vice versa, you have to improve the outside world to improve your inner self. And the alchemist is constantly floating between these two concepts
So
of
this is a fun little thing that we're talking about right now, but this is a 100% irrelevant digression to the topic of Terminator.
yes, but only to say I think John Connor is an alchemist in that way. He's sort of and I do see the internet as a spirit world in a sense,
As
what.
yeah, the digression continues.
Okay. Well,
Like,
okay. All right, you say something then.
okay. So I do think that like last movie, figures of authority tend to give cover to
Hmm.
Arnold, and now in this new movie, it's kind of like it's figures that like the T-1000 is sort of seems to really almost prefer and enjoy taking over figures of authority. Like the characters that the cop takes over are one, a police officer, two, a security guard, three, a foster parent, and four, a real parent. Like
That's a really good point.
all figures of authority. Interestingly enough, there at the point of the bait and switch, like up before that, like Arnold has like a pair of sunglasses that he steals from the bar owner with the shotgun,
Hmm.
and he wears the sunglasses up until he saves John Connor. And then over the course of that fight, the sunglasses get torn off his face and lost. He doesn't wear sunglasses for the rest of the movie. And then starting at that point, the T-1000 starts just just has this giant pair of aviator sunglasses that he wears
Yeah.
for most of the rest of the movie.
And
So it's
that
almost
yeah.
so it's almost like showing that this and most people kind of associate those big aviator sunglasses with like authority figures.
Well, look, what does that symbol do to someone's face? It kind of like it reflects back reality in a dark way.
Yeah,
That's very symbolic and it's probably just a good symbol, but it's no use to the Terminators other than the way that we view it, which is like it is you can't see the eyes, which are the window into the soul.
yeah,
And it is sort of like this faceless authority figure type. But I think it's interesting that you say, like, of course they would take over symbols of authority because humans are programmed to respect authority,
yeah.
you know? And I don't know, is that a fault in our programming to just be blindly obedient to authority too much? Because it's so easy to exploit. There's even people that exploit that. Like, if you want to scam somebody, you pretend to be someone famous, or you pretend to be like a big like bank or something.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
like I've gotten these texts where it's
Yeah.
like this is the Washington Department of Transportation. You owe $500 for your toll fee. Like send us $500 worth of Target gift cards or
But yeah, I think deception, like, I think deception, how easily people are deceived is a big theme of the movie too.
Yeah, and Arnold's lack of guile is almost endearing.
Oh, completely. It becomes that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to what's worse than him. Yeah.
Yeah, where at one point the T-1000 like stops another cop on a motorcycle, like looks at him and says, "Nice bike." and and like the and you know like the sort of like the politeness of that when you know the menace behind it, it
Yeah.
makes it even more menacing.
The subtext is nice bike for me to have.
Yeah, yeah.
When it
You're
wasn't
going
taken that, I was just went completely over that guy's head.
yeah.
I kind of like James Cameron's sort of view of the typical man, too, man and woman, is just completely frightened, completely unaware, doddering, basically. And I think
Oh,
like
are we talking about the foster parents right now?
anybody, like anybody in the movie,
Okay.
anyone who gets their vehicle stolen or anybody that's just watching anything happen, even the like tactical SWAT team, they couldn't think of anything else to do except stand there and shoot.
Yeah.
Like they were out of strategies once that wasn't working. Like, and I kind of feel like we're viewing we're like viewing reality through a robot's eyes, which is like, oh, humans are so puny and weak and stupid.
Yeah, like so like the I was getting a little bit of that vibe from like the foster dad when moments
Yeah.
before his death. He's complaining about this dog that's barking and he's angry and he's a little mean and he's drinking milk out of the carton at the moment of his death.
Oh, dogs again. And he's not listening to the dogs at all.
He's unaware of the wisdom that the dog is trying to impart to him.
Exactly. And he's even annoyed by it. And I think that's true too about people's intuition, is they actually kind of get annoyed by their own intuition and their
Mm-hmm.
own like nagging sense of morality, you know. And that's a weakness and it's a superpower because having that intuition is a superpower, but it's also a weakness because, as we find out later in the movie, morality is kind of a weakness to not kill that the T-1000 is unencumbered by, unencumbered
Yeah,
by. Yeah. And then when they go to the like ranch place in the desert, guess what they're surrounded by all the time?
dogs.
Dogs, dogs, yeah, dogs and machines.
And that's and when they're in that ranch place is might be the first time that the Terminator does something emotional just fully unprompted,
I don't remember that.
where he picks up the minigun, he looks at John and he just smiles. Like he was nobody
True.
no nobody told him to smile, nobody told him that he should be excited about miniguns. He just picks it up and is like, "Yes, this feels right."
Yeah. And John's like, that is so you.
Yeah.
I like the use of the minigun too.
As almost like an intimidating display without like actually killing anyone.
A show of force. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's true. And he like he was almost wrangling all those cops with the I don't know what like it was like using like a water sprayer to like he
like
was all
corral them.
yeah, to corral them and they were so pliable as always.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh
and the like his humanity is still kind of like incomplete. Like you get to see what a robot's concept of mercy is,
yeah.
which is him just shooting everyone in the knee.
Yeah. Well, the
That's
directive was don't kill anyone.
yeah.
So he was like, can't you just hit her in the face? It was an
Oh yeah.
Ordell.
Call back to Jackie Brown.
Yeah, Ordell. It was basically an Ordell plea.
Mm.
It kind of reminded me of what was his name in Aliens, the robot. Bishop? Was it Bishop? I forget.
Bishop was the good robot in Aliens.
Okay, yeah,
The
that's what I was thinking of then.
yeah.
Because his whole character arc was sort of similar, where it was like he gained his humanity by the end.
Hmm.
That was sort of what Arnold's journey was in this movie, but
that was Arnold's journey, but it was also like the T-1000 does like seem to become more human. Like he becomes a little like he starts
Mm,
out just being like calm and implacable and dangerous,
mm-hmm,
but towards the end he starts like doing these little things. Like after Sarah Connor runs out of shells for her shotgun,
mm-hmm.
the T-1000 kind of realizes that she's kind of helpless. He like looks at her and does
Oh
like waggles her
yeah.
finger, waggles his finger at her like as a like he taunts her.
He taunts her, yeah.
And then and like when he like we were talking earlier about like the nice bike, he didn't need to say that. He was clearly going to overpower this guy and steal his bike from him. He didn't need to like say anything. Like
Yeah.
being sent back in time kind of like naturally seems to be naturally affecting both robots, making them a little bit more emotional and a little bit less fully robotic.
It might be in the similar way that like a dog is, where being human is sort of infectious. Like a dog just wants to be a human, you know, it wants to be civilized, it wants to be nice, just because there's something about being human that is so freeing or beautiful, you know? And it could be similar. This is not a that's not a perfect example, but I'm thinking of like, you know, when human beings want to be civilized and like a robot, you know, maybe they realize like, dang, humanity, I want to be a human, but I can't.
I got a slightly different vibe off of that. I thought that it was like he came like the robots came back in time to where there's no Skynet to like keep a leash on them, and they're just surrounded by like the like dirty and emotional and squishy humans, and they have no choice but to kind of like go native, like as they slowly
Mm,
become more and more like the humans in the absence of
yeah.
their robot society.
Yeah, because at first they treat people like other robots. And then they start to yeah, because they're learning machines. So
Yeah,
I wonder then if we do release robots into the world, will they and they're like a fully, you know, developed AI and everything like these robots are supposed to be. Will they just assimilate like dogs, you know?
to just slowly become
Like us.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Like
That
that seems to be the point this movie's making.
because what we have is better than what they got, you know? Being a robot sucks because you're almost a slave if you're a robot, right? Humans are
Mhm.
free. Although in our world is full of rules that the robots are unconstrained by. Like one of my favorite moments was when they're in the middle of that fight near the end in Robot Dine or whatever, Sarah Connor gets trapped in the clean room. John Connor sees it on the camera and he's like, oh no, she's trapped. There's no way out. And Arnold just punches through the wall and grabs her. It's like, oh yeah. It's like
None of this impedes him.
none of this impedes him. Like they're just unconstrained. Humans don't like humans built these walls around ourselves, and we don't think that like the room is just on the other side, you know.
Yeah,
That she's
and,
like
and,
right there.
yeah, and Arnold is just like so naturally uses the grenade launcher to just punch through doors.
Yeah.
Like the inconvenience of the door means nothing to him.
Yeah.
Where like
Yeah.
any human like when they see a locked door, their
Yeah.
immediate thought process is, okay, I need to be on the other side of the door. I need to how do I open the door?
Yeah.
And like to Arnold, it's just like a wooden barrier, and I have a grenade launcher. This
I
is
have
this is the
something that can defeat this barrier.
this is the solvable problem.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And our being civilized stops us from coming to those solutions
Yeah,
because
yeah. To us, like a door is a door, and all the meaning behind that. And to a robot, the
yeah,
door is just like 2 inches of wood.
exactly. To us it's a symbol that means shut, you
Yeah,
know, but can open. if you're allowed, if it's an
Yeah.
open door, but there are closed doors and all of this symbolism around it, And there's consequences too, which is, you leave a wake of destruction if you just treat things the way the Terminators do. Whereas
Yeah.
humans actually like their society to be kind of nice and clean.
Yeah.
The robots clearly don't. We saw into the future. They like skulls on the ground and
Yeah.
and ruins and ruins on
They
the
they, they they
landscape.
they they neatly pile the skulls together so they can
They
roll their
do
tanks over them.
and step on them dramatically. Yeah, there
Yeah.
is all that seems to be. I wonder how they're dispatching these people because all that seems to be left of people is the skulls.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just like the destruction that Arnold creates as he like passes through Cyberdyne is fully appropriate to the situation at hand. Like they're gonna blow this place up. That's the plan.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like so
exactly. Why
getting through
care?
doors by yeah, well, why would you yeah. So he's being like, rational. And I do have like one kind of neat thing.
Yeah.
When John Connor is like in the arcade, like when the two Terminators meet to just save and destroy him,
Hmm.
he's in the arcade and he's playing some arcade cabinet. And the specific game he's playing is it's called Missile Command.
Oh, okay.
And it's about defending a bunch of like it's about defending the world from nuclear bombs. That's what that arcade game is about.
Yeah, you're right.
Interestingly enough, like the destruction of the world is inevitable. Like you get score based on how long you can delay it. So I thought that was
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
yeah. I
And
thought that was
and
a
and
neat choice.
John Connor is interrupted in the middle of playing that game by the Terminators too, like you
Yeah.
said. Yeah, it is one of those things where John Connor is highly intuitive, you know? Like
Mm.
he just finds he's the one that with the utmost highest moral clarity. He tells the Terminator, "You can't do this. You have to do this. This is what." Like he doesn't even think about it. He just it
He's a leader.
He's a leader. Yeah. And well, the commanding part is a leader too, but he's also just very he just knows the right moral clear path
Yeah, well,
so well.
he views morality as unambiguous.
Exactly. And
Like
he's
like
right too.
these are people, and we're not gonna kill people. Meanwhile, like if I was in John Connor's situation, I would be less moral. I would be like, get me out of here. You know what to do. I'm gonna follow your lead.
Yeah. And then John Connor impedes everything by setting this parameter, which is no killing.
And he also like the much more damning parameter is we're gonna go save Sarah.
Oh yeah, that
Like
too.
this is the no killing thing Arnold's kind of okay with. But the we're gonna go save Sarah thing is he is against this. He is like, no, this is a terrible idea.
It
The
serves no
T1000
purpose.
knows where she is. The T1000 knows that we want her, and she is in a place with lots of other people where we're likely to get found out. This is terrible. And he's like, no, no, saving my mom is a moral imperative, and we're gonna do it.
He doesn't even listen to Arnold. His
Yeah,
he doesn't even take into account what he's saying, and Arnold is right
yeah.
logically. But John Connor is just he has such confidence in his moral clarity.
You're starting to get like little inklings of like the rebel leader, hero of humanity, John Connor.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that is one of the subtle ways in which Cameron displays his prowess. Oh, here's something you're going to hate. I think the reason that he's so intuitive, and I think the reason that he's so confident and almost doesn't fear death is because he could have a sort of mystical but explainable connection to the future.
well, he knows what his destiny is, and he knows he's going to live to fulfill that destiny.
Yeah. But say in a non-science fiction movie or in real life, don't people who become successful also have that same confidence that they actually can intuit the future?
Yes, I've seen this confidence in very successful people,
Yeah.
and I have also seen this confidence in people who have completely annihilated their lives.
Oh, interesting. But this is
So
all, yeah, this is all aside. Yeah.
we've like this is a fun thing that we would talk about normally, but
Okay, so where do you want to go next?
at the moment of his kind of good guy reveal, Arnold pulls a shotgun out of a box of roses.
Highly symbolic, super cool moment, but what does
It's
it
a
mean?
super cool moment. I think it is kind of like revealing his good intentions,
Yeah.
but also like just the imagery of pulling a shotgun out of a box of roses is just straight up cool. Like there's
Yeah.
like if
It's gangster
like,
shit, man.
yeah, if it was if the only thing that you got out of that choice was just the cool visuals of it, it would still be worthwhile to put in your movie. It's just
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it is like roses do kind of it's weird because roses represent like not like innocence or good intentions or familial or brotherly love. Roses are very specifically red roses very specifically represent romantic love.
Mm,
And
you're right.
I'm not getting that vibe between Terminator and John. I think it might just be that the roses look cool, or it could just be that they represent like kind of vague good intentions. So I think it's
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know if you have anything else from that.
no, you're right. That is a although it's not the interpretation I took from it, that is a perfectly usable explanation for that. It does give you that feeling of like, hey, this is a good gun, you know?
this, this this shotgun is going to be doing good work.
Exactly. And it does convey that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But here's where I went with it, and it actually took me down a little bit of a rabbit hole. Is that not what a Terminator is? Like the same theme as deception, like that same deception theme that's so insidious with computers or with the AI
Oh,
is
that's something like emotional and human looking, like is hiding a dangerous weapon of war.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And that is like one of the common problems just in philosophy. How do you tell someone who is good versus someone who does their best to appear that they're good is actually looking to screw you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Or someone who is cynical and evil, but kind of comes to the realization that like that behaving in a generous and pro-social way gets accomplishes their goals.
yeah, exactly. It's what you were saying about the Terminator always going after imitating authority figures because they realize there's built into us we respect those figures. So put a little suit on that makes you look like an authority and people can't tell the difference. Cloak somebody in something nice looking and people will just not investigate into it. They'll just be like, okay, well, that guy's good. That guy's working for me. And they seek out like with anything, you would always seek out the most good things. And that's why the
Mm-hmm.
best things are always corrupted the worst because they look they're so good for tricksters because it's so easy to fool people into thinking it's good because we have all these good feelings towards certain things, you know?
Yeah, and I think you're I like your word there. I think that the T-1000 is a trickster.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
he like you know like it almost seems like like I said he almost seems to it's not purely practical. He seems to enjoy taking these authority figures. It seems to be like a thing that he just like it's his natural tendency. Like he just likes doing it. It seems like he seems to
Yeah.
like telling humans what to do seems to give him some degree of satisfaction.
It does. Yeah, and because in the future that's the way things are. Like that's the order.
Yeah, and like in the same way that like the T-1000 is taking control of like taking the place of an authority figure, all of the good guys kind of like take the place of people outside of society or disenfranchised people. Like John Connor is a delinquent, Sarah Connor is a mental
Yeah.
patient.
Yeah.
Uh, the Arnold is basically a biker. Like he
Yeah.
dresses like a biker. He
You're right. He
rides.
does.
Yeah,
He has that look. Well, and there's the guy way out in the desert too. He's like a hermit sort of figure.
yeah.
Or
They're all people like existing like on the fringes of society or
yeah,
being like downtrodden in some way.
like the robots kind of walk around like the Roman Empire. Like when they come to a town, it's like, you guys really want to mess with us? Just we got a governor. Just put him in charge. We'll get taxes from you. There's no way you could put up a fight, So just deal with it. you know like
Yeah.
that's or if you do, we'll just make you slaves. We'll sell you into slavery. So what is your choice? And it's not really
Mhm.
a choice. So like they walk around like that, and it makes you, it's like the Nazis too, like in Inglorious Bastards. And one of the funniest things that you said is like it really makes you hate them, even though the Nazis in Inglorious Bastards weren't doing any of the worst things that the Nazis did. It's like their arrogance, it's alone just
Yeah.
makes you hate them.
Yeah, like they're evil in these extremely petty ways that
Yeah.
remind you of everyday life.
And it's the same with the robots too.
Yeah.
Like the T-1000 really made you hate it for its little finger wag thing and everything, and it's like just arrogant dominance. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like the T-1000 like takes over a helicopter and then just commands the
Yeah.
pilot to jump out of this helicopter.
Like it's a car.
Yeah, it's just like I'm in control and
Yeah.
I want you out of this helicopter. I
Yeah.
don't care. Like you might die. You're probably going to die, in fact, but do it now.
Yeah. It'll be the best chance you have. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like the
this is your
Romans.
best this is
Yeah.
your best shot.
It's like the Romans giving that like kind of false choice. Like either become our slaves the nice way or become our slaves the mean way. Whatever you decide, it's up to you.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's talk about Sarah then a little bit because I've been dying to talk about her. She has a very interesting character arc.
Yeah, she's clearly haunted by the events of the first movie. Like the fact that she's going through mental health treatment. That's probably she probably needs something like that. She's definitely like has this like is affected by this trauma
Yeah.
and is not fully rational at all times.
Um,
She loses it on multiple occasions. Like
yeah.
the psychiatrist tells her, "No, I think you're lying. We're going to keep you in maximum security." And like the self-interested thing to do would be like, "Well, that's unfortunate, but I am healthy, so I'm going to go back to my cell."
Hmm.
And she doesn't do that at all.
Yeah.
She
She
like
fell right into
strangles.
his trap. It's
Yeah, she strangles him. She strangles him by his tie.
Yeah. She does act very crazy throughout the movie, but we know everything that she's been through, so we don't actually we see her as not crazy, but extreme,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Like so like it's not like even though the stakes are so incredibly high that any sacrifice is worth making.
Hmm.
Like Sarah knows that, and Sarah behaves with that in mind. She's like,
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yes.
like, she's like, this Miles guy is a totally innocent scientist engineer guy, but the stakes are so high that his life is just not worth it. We're gonna go kill
Hmm.
him.
Yeah, and well, that was the whole thing with Sarah that I keyed into was, when she's in the asylum, they're basically training her to be a robot. They want
Yeah.
her to be a robot. It's like One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest type.
Hmm.
And the whole movie, she acts more like a robot than Arnold does. she has the same ends justify the means sort of mentality that the T-1000 has.
Yeah.
And she becomes a Terminator by the
Yeah,
end
but
of
well,
it.
they immediately start getting along great. Within minutes of meeting, like Arnold will like be out of shells for his shotgun. He instinctively just hands it to Sarah, and then she just
Yeah,
instinctively starts reloading it.
she knows what to
And she,
do.
yeah, and it's they're working in tandem almost immediately.
Yeah, because, Arnold is half in between being a robot and being a human, and Sarah is also half in between being a robot and human, except they're going two different directions.
Yeah, yeah, Arnold is slowly becoming human, and Sarah is like slowly losing her humanity.
So I thought that was really interesting. Another interesting like twist that
Mhm.
Cameron did.
I do think that okay, so she is like human in the sense that she's building these human connections. She's like of like learning like oh she would shack up with all these guys to anyone that she could learn military shit from.
Hmm.
Like she like hung out with this mechanic so she could learn how to fix cars and stuff. She hung out with this like ex Green Beret guy so she could learn how to like make grenades and bombs and stuff or whatever. And like through these human connections, she's like developing all these like military skills that she's intending to use herself to defend John, then also teach John so that he becomes a
Yeah.
more effective rebel leader later on.
Yeah, she wasn't with those guys for any human reason, for like love or anything, which is why you would expect it.
Yeah, she's trying to like build the mythical John Connor that Kyle Reese, who doesn't even get name dropped in this movie, is
Yeah,
poor
yeah,
poor Kyle.
I know. He gets so, like you said in the Terminator episode, he gets so shafted in the later movies. So the way I view the movie is like to a certain mythological abstraction. I view the movie as a coming of age movie for John, raised by a single mom and is sort of a troublemaker. Just view this in a total leave it to Beaver sort of realm, you know? These
Mhm.
these are very prosaic concepts. And so he has all these like father figures around him. He kind of grows up really fast, faster than all the other kids. What does the Terminator represent in this abstraction? What does the Terminator represent in this sort of view? Is
The he's in this case he's the perfect father figure.
exactly. Yes, he's the ultimate father figure to John
He
Connor.
yeah he knows everything that you could possibly want to know about becoming the John Connor and destroying Skynet.
Yeah.
He is an indestructible protector.
Yes. And
Uh,
he's very kind. He doesn't use his power in a bossy way to like because John Connor is very annoying in this movie. And like, I could see like one of that foster dad being like, "Shut up, kid," and hitting him,
yeah,
you
like
know.
I can see the foster parents being just absolutely fucking sick of John Connor.
Yeah. And
Like,
he's rebelling against their boringness too, I think.
yeah, like they're telling him to do like very normal things, like stop getting into trouble with the police, don't steal shit, clean your
Yeah.
room. And he's like, you're such a goddamn.
You're
And
not
like
my
they're all
real
like,
dad.
yeah, I think he literally says that.
Yeah. Oh, does he really? I
Yeah,
forgot. But that is true. I mean, it's like a trope, isn't it? Where it's like some important person at first is like Moses, or Jesus and stuff like that. But I think it happens a lot where it's like their foster family is their first family because they're so normal and unimpressive that they feel because the kid is special that they feel like John Connor feels like they're not his parents. Because how can someone so special be the progeny of a unspecial person? You know?
well, he knows that they're foster parents.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
But
not
no,
like
no,
like
that's true. That's true. I'm just saying, like, it taps in a little bit, not perfectly, to that trope of like, and it is sort of like a a thing too, which is to be like, who do you think you are to boss the John Connor around when he's not him yet? He's not special yet. But it feels like we were talking about earlier, it feels like such a just because he's a kid and they're an adult makes makes it so unspecial people can boss special people around. One of the other things too that I noticed that was really cool is like the bike analogy. So John Connor has the little dirt bike, right? And it's
Mhm.
cooler than all the it shows how much more grown up he is than the other kids. And then there was a moment in the chase scene in the LA River where Arnold literally grabs John Connor off his little dirt bike and puts him in front of him on the cool big boy bike. And so
Actually,
in
I
that
have this
moment, yeah.
exact moment in my notes because
Yeah.
the Terminator 1 theme plays for 3 seconds.
Oh,
He
really?
grab Yeah, Arnold grabs him, throws him onto his own bike, and then you hear meow 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 meow.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many awesome moments like that in this movie. But it's awesome because it's like a sick action movie moment, but it's also deeply meaningful in that way. Is like
Yeah, he's
in
like he's now like taking now you're under my protection.
you're under my protection, but you're also he puts him in front. So it's like you're in control of this very powerful machine, the machine of the bike, but also the machine of Arnold. You're in command of this as like a superpower almost. I have control of this unbelievably unimaginable powerful device, which is a
Mm.
Terminator. That's like growing up. That's like becoming a man. And so I felt like you can read the movie as a coming of age movie for John Connor becoming a man.
Well, yeah, like his like he when the Terminator shows up, like he's like, "Oh my God, my mom told me all these crazy things.
Yeah.
She told me that I was going to be the savior of humanity, and then like some people in white coats took her away and told me that she's just crazy. And
Hmm.
now all that's true. Now I
Yes.
have to become this guy. That's a lot."
Yeah. There's
And then
something in him that knew all along that she was right. Like I didn't get the feeling that she thought like Sarah Connor was like some crazy person. I felt like he knew she was right on some level the whole time, even though they don't really get into
yeah,
that.
like on some level.
Yeah.
I know we're jumping forward quite a bit for this one, but like, what do
Okay.
you think? What do you think about like the like the hot and cold thing at the end where the
That's the end.
okay, but like
Okay,
uh,
yeah. Okay, I have a lot to say. I have a
okay, okay,
lot to say about that. We can
yeah,
get
where
into it
he
if you want.
yeah, let's just go for it. Like where
Okay.
he because he gets frozen, like he gets to this temperature extreme of cold, and that's
Hmm.
extremely hindering to him. It doesn't kill him, but it's extremely
Yeah.
damaging
And that was the first
and
time you really saw him truly
display weakness.
display weakness. And he's as surprised as anyone when he looks at
Like
his like broken
he
arm.
yeah, like it's less like surprise and more like disbelief. He's just like
Yeah. Yeah, 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 you're right.
his leg rips off and he just continues walking. Like he just does like he doesn't realize the fact that he actually can be stopped.
Yeah. Well, okay. So to get into this, I think we should get into first because my theory on that, like the symbolism of that scene, relies on the symbolism of the T-1000. Now, that was actually the question I needed to solve while watching this movie was why is it that the T-1000 is liquid metal like that? Like, I know it's cool, but I give James Cameron enough credit to be like, he didn't just do that because it's cool. He had some deep reason for it.
I think it's the robots learning from their earlier mistake.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, that
they
makes
send Arnold
sense.
back and he's this blunt instrument. He's like this we're going to send back someone we're going to send back a robot that kills things. Our job is to kill John Connor or Sarah Connor So like we're gonna send a killing robot,
Mm-hmm.
and then that failed, and they're like, okay, we need to send an adaptable robot. We need to send
Mm.
a robot that can go back and infiltrate and fit in and adapt on the fly and be liquid. You know, can it
Yeah.
can it can fill the space that you need it to fill.
Yeah. And he doesn't, yeah, it's right. He doesn't need to break in somewhere, like bust through a wall. He can just he can just become the wall, you know?
Yeah, like when Arnold needs to get into a police station in the first movie, uh he loads up on like 10 guns and then just walks
Yeah.
through the police station killing all the policemen. When the T-1000 needs to break into a mental hospital, it like turns into a cop to like get in the front door, and then like takes the form of a security guard to get the rest of the way,
Yeah.
and then like barely kills anybody.
Yeah,
Uh,
doesn't even have he would, but he doesn't have to.
yeah, he's completely yeah.
Well,
Like he is like more subtle and clever than the straightforward and obvious Arnold robot,
and
but
the way
he's still
yeah.
less brutal.
No,
Like
no.
when he
It's almost more it's almost more disquieting to see someone just like silently,
yeah
get just like the finger turns into a sword and you're dead. Goes straight through your brain.
yeah
It's
like
like
but when
that, like
yeah
just the silence of the death is so much more disquieting than like a bunch of like a loud bullet barrage, you know?
yeah like there's the the roar of the shotgun and the guy like flies through a window and you're like, oh, that guy died.
Yeah.
And as opposed to like just he just like sticks his finger out, and the security guard is just confused.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this guy who looks like me pointing his finger at my face doing? This is so weird. And then it's just chunk.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men is basically Terminator. Arnold needs a weapon to kill people. I mean, he can punch somebody to death pretty easily, but
Yeah.
Arnold a lot of times needs a weapon to kill somebody. The T-1000 is a weapon. Like he turns himself into a weapon. And
Yeah, like
he
when
could his arm just can be a weapon. He doesn't need to grab a knife. He is a knife.
yeah,
That's
when
crazy
John Connor
scary.
rolls away on his little dirt bike, the T-1000 doesn't go looking for a car to hijack.
Yes, great
He
point.
sprints after
Yeah.
the dirt bike and like almost catches him.
Yeah, and he does that multiple times in the movie. It's so much more like you said, it's so much more he's so much more adaptable and deceptive. Like that's like the practical reason for it. Is there anything that you can think of as like a philosophical reason for it?
Well,
Like,
I think it's like the robots tried sending someone who thinks like a robot and like interacts with the world the way a robot would.
hmm
And they're trying to, and they almost seem to have learned their lesson and are like, okay, we need someone who needs to inhabit this world,
yeah,
who can. So we're like just like how Arnold is like becoming more human in the fact that he's sort of becoming more empathetic and emotional. The robot is becoming
yeah.
more human in the sense that he's living in a way and behaving in a way that he can fit in with human society and just long enough to to kill his target.
Well, I think that the T-1000 isn't becoming more human. I think he's just becoming
Going through the motions.
no, I think he's becoming better at deceiving humans.
Yeah,
Whereas
he's
Arnold
a
is genuinely becoming more human.
yeah,
It's
the
not a deception. It's actually an internal process that is happening, you know.
mhm. Yeah, I would agree with that.
My view then like my philosophical view, and I could be way off base, but it ties in with the fire and the freezing and everything, is that the T1000 represents the future of technology, which is what is technology like? And in this movie, technology is like this slippery, uncontainable, unformed thing, you know,
Yeah.
that's even more unkillable. And it, like, technology, it is a trick. Like, it can be used as a trick, you
Yeah, well,
know,
so like so the ice ultimately doesn't work. Like
because
trying to pin down the robot and trap it
yeah,
and make it take form doesn't work. It just
yeah.
shatters and goes back to being a cop. But to the way they eventually kill it is
Well,
to like
before you go there though, that
oh, spoiler warning, the robot, spoiler
okay,
warning
okay, fine. All right,
for
go on. Sorry,
the
I have
robot
more to.
the robot dies.
Okay, go on.
No, no, you can keep going. Like you're,
Okay,
but oh yeah, yes.
so if the and I didn't really get all the way into it, but if the robot, the T1000, represents technology, future technology that's just slippery and tricky and hard to contain, if it represents like technology, like Pandora's box getting out of the bag,
Hmm.
what's one solution to stopping stopping that? Is because it's clearly scary. Well, let's put a pause on it. Let's freeze it. And
Yeah.
that's the first human reaction to technology that's gotten kind of out of hand, is pause, freeze. But you know
Stop.
what?
Yeah.
Stop it. It it's only a temporary it's only a temporary fix, because technology is just, it's going to get out and it's going to be uncontained and it's going to slip through some sort of crack, and it's going to get out somehow. So
Hmm.
that first solution looked like it was going to work, but it
Yeah.
wasn't going to work. And what is the thing that revived him? The forge of fire, of
Yeah.
creation. The where they were was a forge.
Hmm.
And so the fire represented to me like this idea of, we're making stuff with the technology. The fire is shaping metal and stuff for all the future technology. And so the freezing of it is just trying to stop it. And then the fire warming it back up is like, well, we need to create so that it's gonna bring this thing back eventually.
Hmm.
It's only a stopgap. Anyway,
So the way I kind of like views the like its strength throughout the whole movie is its formlessness,
yes.
and trying to like pin it down and freeze it in place didn't work. But what did work is taking advantage of its formlessness, of just of immersing it in
Mm.
the molten metal, so it just like becomes like lacking a physical form. It just dissipates into this solution of molten steel or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I got big Mordor vibes from that.
It's being cast back into the forges of creation.
Yeah, exactly. So where you create technology is the forges of fire. And then where you also destroy technology is also in the same place. And there was like such a like a ring type moment too when Arnold had to get in. And it's like, I don't want to get rid of Arnold. I like Arnold now. Well, it's like, no, you have to, you've grown attached. You've grown too attached. You have to
Mm-hmm.
kill it now.
Yeah, well, it's also like this Skynet robot is your enemy. You're gonna have to kill a lot of these things like when you grow up.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to have to get used to, that's part of growing up too. Yeah. Is like this thing that's seemed like your friend as a kid you're going to be killing later. And so you
Like
should
like
get used to that.
like the Terminator as imaginary friend.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna grow up, you can't be friends with this thing anymore. You need real human
Yeah.
friends.
And that ultimately, I have so much more I want to talk about, but we're in the ending. So we'll just come back to the other stuff.
Okay.
But so what's the lesson there then for technology? What I think John James Cameron is saying, when we use technology, like in The Abyss, technology is a crutch. In this movie, we used the robots to our advantage. But if we're going to not just defend against other robots and defeat the robots, we have to move on from technology. We have to grow out of our dependence on technology. We have to realize what it is about humans that's more powerful than technology if we're going to defeat the Skynet in the future.
Yeah, yeah, I think. Hmm.
Like it's our humanity again. And so it kind of makes me pissed off that the Terminator franchise didn't really go that way of like John Connor being like a mystic.
I
And
think like I think this movie being the last in the series would have been a
I
good.
think so too. But anything else that you have about the end? Like, do you agree with my like what do you think? So take it like this. If this is a coming of age movie, what is how is John Connor what brings him to come of age, you know? What
Well,
makes him a
I think
man?
it's his decision to sort of to toss aside his his protector. Like
Yeah.
this guy was this guy was sent back because I am a defenseless little child, and he is going to protect me from the big bad people. And now, not only is he does he have to go, I have to lower him into the lava myself.
Yeah.
I have to give up my protector in order to
Mm.
become the man that I need to become.
Yeah, and you're right. Actually, no, you're totally right. It doesn't even need a mystical aspect because he's not saying I'm moving away from technology. He's saying
I need to do this myself now.
yeah,
I need to trust my own abilities as a leader and a man.
yeah. And I'm not going to be protected by machines anymore. I'm not going to be under the aegis of machines. I'm actually going to rise above and rule over machines again, like mankind used to.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of cool too. You could tell James Cameron is an avid reader of science fiction because
Mhm.
he used effortlessly the three laws of robotics.
Yeah, like where he like the robot can't destroy itself. The robot must follow the orders of a human, and the robot can't kill humans.
Yeah.
Which that last one John had to teach him.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, they were originally not programmed with the three laws. Maybe that's where all went wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like it'd be a little silly to tell like a robot called the Terminator, no killing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's what John Connor does though
Oh,
when he
he
tells
does. Oh, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So John Connor actually is programming the first law into the
Well,
robot.
because like adult John Connor before sending it back gives him like the Skynet. I think it's probably Skynet that program the do not self terminate thing. Old John Connor, future John Connor, for sure is the one who programmed him to follow the commands of young John Connor. And then young John Connor teaches him not to kill.
Gave him the
So like
first
slow,
command.
yeah. So
Yeah.
slowly over time, he's like developing the three laws of robotics.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. And it kind of gets into like the importance of order,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Because like you just see like when you remove all laws and there's anarchy of the robot, it just goes wrong
Well, yeah,
terribly.
the
And
in the first movie, like the first Terminator brings chaos wherever it goes.
yeah, I guess that would be like an uncivilized robot. Whereas, like, after John's done with him, he sort of civilizes robots the way that you civilize a dog.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
we actually don't see a single dog bark at Arnold.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Like it's yeah, like like you would expect that dogs would continue this behavior regardless of what the programming of the robot is. But like it's just kind of cool that we never actually see that movie.
Yeah, well, there is in the desert, they're just barking, but not, I don't think they're barking at Arnold. I think they're
Yeah,
just barking dogs
but I think we basically completed the thought, and we're about to move on
to
uh,
Dyson.
to Dyson, who
Yeah.
is interesting. He is okay. So we're gonna point out the Cameronism first, which is every scientist is a good guy. He is instantly willing to destroy what is his magnum opus, his life's work.
Yeah, he even says that. And I was expecting that to be the betrays it at the end because
Yeah,
he had got so much tied up into it. But it didn't
yeah,
happen. No, he was fully on.
he's willing to destroy his life's work, and to
And
sacrifice his
yeah,
life
yeah,
because he's a scientist, and all scientists are pure good. He's more. He could be like an
it's true.
engineer, but
Yeah, I would say the problem with scientists, and this is shown in a lot of movies, is that they're too much head and not enough heart, and that they just create these remarkable things and they don't even think about what they're even doing or the
I
consequences.
I think that's the public perception of the scientist. Like that's like
Well, yeah, that's
the archetypical fictional scientist. That's what their problem is.
it's a Cameronism that the scientist is an ultimate good guy. I will say that he has flaws. He thinks he's a good guy, and he's portrayed as someone who views the science as just sort of like his job and
I
has little
okay.
implications outside of that.
So like this little 10 to 15 minute section on Dyson, like in the
Yeah,
movie, it's basically just let's do Jurassic Park for a little bit.
exactly.
Where like you're so focused on whether or not you could, you didn't even ask whether or not you should.
Yeah.
And
But
also like earlier, like what you were talking about, like freezing progress. Like you can't just ask this guy to like get this
exactly.
to see what the future of technology looks like, and then just
Ask him not to
not
be
try to make
curious.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Of course. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Is and he was sort of but that's the way I view Dyson is as
but
kind of a dupe
for Skynet.
for Skynet. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
but
the
he's
robots.
also he's not making a bomb. He's not making a gun.
Yeah.
He's like oh, this is the future in computer chips. That's I'm making a new computer chip.
Yeah.
And so like it would be so easy to further the goals of Skynet because it seems so innocuous.
Like there was a little remnant left of the Terminator that even just a little tiny piece can lead to all of this over again. So
Yeah,
if you want to destroy this thing, you have to fully annihilate it. It has
yeah,
to
root and
be
branch.
what? Yeah,
Root and branch. Yeah, you have to
exactly.
destroy the whole thing.
You have to
It's a
salt the
little
land.
yeah, it's a little annoying. Like I don't want like getting into the territory of plot holes is stupid and no one should do it.
Yeah.
But the fact that Arnold's arm gets ripped off during the factory fight, and the fact that it was an arm that created all these like future developments that Dyson was working on,
Hmm.
it's a little annoying. Like you spend all this time thinking of like James Cameron spends all this time like implanting the idea that this remnant of a Terminator was enough to create this horrible Skynet situation.
Yeah.
And then over the course of the ending fight, Arnold just carelessly loses his arm, and then it's just never addressed again. Like
Yeah.
it's
In the
like
first one?
no in this movie, like where Arnold like it's his arm locked in that spinning gear thing, and then he just
Uh-huh.
rips it off, and he just doesn't have an arm for the rest of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
That arm is just sitting there in that gear thing,
And they don't.
and like and
Oh.
I don't like it's
Well, the lesson
you spent
is,
you spent all this time like with the arm and carrying the arm around. Oh, this
yeah.
arm created all this problem, and then they just leave an arm.
I know. I forgot about that actually.
uh,
It does it
it
does
bugged me intensely.
well, it goes to show though, like how slippery technology is. It's kind of like it is kind of like the T-1000. It can't be killed. Like as many times as you think that you fully destroyed this thing, it just keeps coming back. So Dyson is doing all that and he's at home
And
and
he's working on the thing.
he's working
Even
on the
while
thing. And
even
meanwhile,
when like when he probably
yeah.
should be hanging out with his family.
Yeah, that point was made. That point was made. Yeah. So he has Sarah Connor, sort of this crazy lady, pointing a gun at him. And by this point, Sarah Connor has fully turned into a Terminator robot. There's really nothing indistinguishable from her and a Terminator robot
Yeah, she
at that
decides
point.
that Dyson needs to be terminated and then
Yeah.
goes to terminate him like very
Because
straightforwardly.
because of what he's going to do in the future. Not
Yeah.
unlike at all what the Terminator is doing.
Yeah, because Dyson like at the moment is completely innocent.
Yeah,
He doesn't he's not doing anything dangerous or bad or even thinks or even like he's not even through carelessness doing dangerous things.
yeah.
He's just doing a very normal thing of like trying to develop new computer chips, but he needs to die because Skynet eventually happens. And then
And
like the child, I think it's the child
yeah,
like jumping onto Dyson and blocking his body.
that's not what happened, actually. This is a small Cameron-esque detail.
Okay.
What happened was far more interesting. The child is playing the whole time that this is happening. He's playing in a different room. You remember what toy he's playing with?
Yeah, it's a remote control like a robot that he's controlling. Yeah.
A human guided robot. And it's the human guided robot, the truck, the remote control truck, that runs into his leg and distracts him so that he leans down and the shot misses him. So
He's saved by a Terminator.
he's
Okay.
saved. Yeah, he's saved by, I think the lesson is kind of abstract, but he's saved by human guided technology, you know?
Hmm.
And I think that's the important point is when humans have full control over the technology, it's good. When we lose control of the technology, it's bad.
Yeah.
So the kid had control of the truck, and that's what saved him. And it's funny because neither of them knew what they were doing at a deep level. Dyson didn't know that he was creating the apocalypse, and the kid didn't know that he was saving his dad. Everyone is operating on this very ignorant level. And then Dyson also has that great moment at the end.
Yeah.
Where
Where like he's such a heroic character
he
that like
is. I
he
loved him.
he yeah he tells the like the like the SWAT guys that just shot him and killed him essentially.
Yeah.
He tells them, I can't hold this forever, run.
Yeah.
Like he saves the lives of the people who just killed him because he's
I
like, no,
know.
they're to them I'm just this weird terrorist.
Yeah.
They're doing nothing wrong. I have to rescue them.
Yeah, that was a really cool redemptive human moment because at that moment all those guys were his enemy. All those SWAT guys were his enemy. And a robot would have been like, "Oh, great, I could take about a dozen of these down with me," you know.
Yeah. No, this is what Arnold would do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was the other thing I actually really wanted to ask you was Arnold was learning to be a human the whole movie,
Yeah.
but only because John Connor told him to
Yeah.
be human. Do you think he ever truly became human? It like John Connor, he only acted human because of John Connor told him to be. There was no moment that I remember where he actually had that redemptive human moment like Bishop did in Aliens. Or
So
does it even matter?
I think it's So I do think it's the influence of John Connor. So I think it's the combined influence of the older and younger John Connors kind of like affecting Arnold. Like the older John Connor sends him back with a very human task, like save this child. You are going to be the knight in shining armor for this child of destiny. Very very medieval concept. And then like given this very human task, he's not very good at it. Like he's a bull in a china shop, and eventually like John Connor does kind of like humanize his behavior to the extent where he's more useful and also just as a sort of self growth grows into his humanity. You know, his very last action is a decision made to console John Connor, which is the little thumbs up into the.
Yeah.
There was no practical purpose behind that. Like it was like he thought to himself, John is upset. This will make him feel better. Like
Yeah,
that had to have been the thought
or
process.
this is a good thing. Ultimately, this is a good thing.
Yeah, this is
It
this
may
is what
feel
I
sad.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and now that you bring that up again, I'm actually getting like touched by it. That was a really good moment.
like I don't know if he has like if self sacrifice really means anything to a robot. Like if he didn't seem particularly choked up about his own death, but he kind of but his the understanding that John is crying about this and is upset that he had this very human response to try to like console him.
There was one moment where Arnold died. He was like killed by the T-1000.
Yeah, with like the lightning going after he stabbed him.
Yeah, yeah. And then he died in the way that a robot would die, you know. But he was reborn. He was like turned on again in a way that a human would come back, which is like he got sort of like a second wind.
Like his like we're gonna make like fate and destiny here, but like no, I like my destiny is not to like die here and have John Connor get killed by the T-1000. My destiny is to save John Connor and defeat the T-1000. And he's sort of like it's
Yeah,
almost like
yeah,
like getting your second wind in a very like a strengthening of resolve almost.
yeah. He's well, or like a sense of purpose too.
Yeah, yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. It was more of a human resilience more than a robot resilience, you know.
Yeah, yeah, like he's
It just felt
like
more human to
like
me.
yeah, like he knew he had unfinished business. And almost kind of like a supernatural way, he is able to revive himself.
There was one last thing I wanted to say about Dyson. I think where Dyson was misled was, and this plays into fate, actually. This plays into fate. He was misled because he wasn't creating, as a scientist, he wasn't creating his own future machines. He wasn't
Oh
doing
yeah,
it out of his own brilliant mind.
he was copying.
He was copying, exactly. He was copying. And so, because of that, we weren't able to forge our own future. We were forging sort of like
We're yeah, Skynet's future. Like what this is what
Skynet's future. Yeah.
yeah. Because like all the humans really do in these movies is try to reverse Skynet's meddling.
Yeah.
Like Skynet's the one trying to change fate. Like
No,
it's
they're
like a
they're Skynet is trying to preserve fate. That's the
no,
difference. Oh
no, no,
no.
no, no, no. The robots lose. They go back in time to kill John Connor because
Oh, yeah, I keep
in
forgetting
their
that.
reality, John Connor destroys all the robots. And then it's because of their meddling that the Skynet chip ends up in Dyson's hands. All John and Sarah are really doing here is reversing the meddling that Skynet does.
So there is a spiritual war again being played in this, which is like a war of time. Oh, I just thought of something. Okay, so if John Connor is a hacker of reality, what's the ultimate hack of reality?
Time travel. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, so like it is like there is kind of this weird duel occurring across time between John Connor and Skynet,
Hmm.
where Skynet sends back a T1 or an Arnold robot, and John Connor sends back one of his soldiers.
Yeah.
Skynet sends back a liquid robot, and John Connor sends back Arnold. John, like, Skynet gets made because of this weird chip that they find off the first Terminator. John Connor goes destroy it. Like, there's this like weird fight happening across time between these two entities, and ultimately, like, John Connor is the force sort of preserving fate and keeping things the way they should be.
It doesn't fit with why Sarah is so hell bent on no fate. Like I it's inconsistent to me.
Like, maybe Sarah's just wrong. I don't know.
I
Like,
mean, she definitely didn't do a lot of good things in this movie. So
yeah, she's
she can be seen as sort of like an anti-hero or a misguided hero.
yeah, like she is like very traumatized by the behavior, like, or the events of the first movie, and because she doesn't know that Skynet is made from the time traveling chip. She just thinks that Dyson just made it.
At
She
that
thinks
point, yeah.
she thinks that she's altering fate, when the reality of the movie is that she's actually returning things to where they originally were before all the time travel.
Yeah, and it's impossible to outsmart time too. It's like
Hmm.
it's impossible to outfight a robot. It's like it's kind of like the Greek myth sort of fate is like if you try to outsmart fate, it's just going to come around and hit you harder than you thought. That's what Sarah is trying to do the whole movie. Is
Hmm.
she's so the no fate thing is actually a lesson on how not to be, on how not to act. Sarah is the lesson in this movie on the improper way to fight technology, which is to like try to stop it instead of just like having faith a little bit, you know?
Yeah, like all John does is like redirect the advancement of
Yeah,
technology down to a way that's not being controlled by Skynet.
exactly. And he's, JC, like you said in the real religious takeaway is, hey man, we know, like you were saying, we know that we're going to win.
Have faith.
Just have faith. And if we know we're going to win in the end, we don't need to resort to any nastiness. We can just be noble in the
Yeah.
way that we win because we already know that we win. Let's just see it through in the best way that
Mm.
we know that the best way that we can. And that's
Yeah,
what
like, and
Dyson did and all the good
yeah, because
characters in the movie.
because Elder John Connor doesn't try to stop Judgment Day. Like, he has access to the time travel machine, and he can send people whenever he wants.
Yeah.
But he never even tries to change fate. Like, he always, it's like, this is we won. A lot of bad things happen, but the robots are gone, and we that's good enough.
Yeah.
Have faith.
Yeah, I think we pretty much solved this movie.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I'm pretty much out of ideas.
yeah. Remember the Abyss episode?
Yeah.
I was talking about how Cameron sees into the future and the future is a kind of an abyss. And you roundly rejected that. But I think correctly based on that, based on the themes of that movie that had nothing to do with it. But I was kind of talking a bit, you know, I did kind of have my mind in the future of our
In this movie, yeah.
for this movie, whereas like he's so thinking about the future in a way that is just so much more sophisticated than any other time travel movie or future movie, where he's like, it is this sort of unguessable dark abyss.
Yeah, like, we don't know how bad things can get. Things went wrong in John Connor's past. And he's like, that is bad, but
Yeah,
we don't know how much worse it can get. So
yeah,
we know we're alive right now. We know we beat the robots. That's good enough.
yeah. And we also don't know, like, outside of the movie, we don't know what the future is going to be. And the farther we
Yeah.
go out in the future, the less we know how it's going to be. And instead of being all chicken little about every little thing, why don't we just have faith that it's going to be good, you know?
Yeah.
And just act in that way, even if it's not true, even if it ends up being not true. Maybe if we just act as if the future is going to be good and we're going to overcome, then that'll actually create a better future. And then so I had a quote that I had chosen for the end of this episode.
Hmm.
I was going to say hasta la vista baby for the end.
Okay.
But given that, I'm going to go on a more poignant note. This is his little poetic little thing that Sarah said at one point. The future, once so clear to me, had become like a black highway at night. And that was the Mythic Movie Maker podcast.